Hey everybody, how's it going? Something that I'm noticing is that on every side of the political aisle, I'm noticing more people having an appetite for antitrust regulations and antitrust enforcement in markets and areas that tended to be a little bit more libertarian. Whether you're on the left and you believe that one company should not be too powerful, or whether you're on the right and you're kind of noticing that certain platforms and certain companies all tend to have a particular bias, and that affects what they allow and don't allow on their platforms when it comes to free speech. There are a lot of people that are starting to realize that companies that are worth $1 or $2 trillion seem to have a little bit too much monopolistic control, and sometimes they don't use it properly. Now, this is interesting when it comes to Amazon and Apple because of a deal that they had made 3 years ago. And admittedly, this is not happening in America. This is starting in Italy. This relates very closely to a case where Amazon had screwed over a large number of refurbishers that were using their platform to sell their products. It says here, Amazon and Apple handed $225 million in antitrust fines. Italy's antitrust authority has fined U.S. tech giants Amazon and Apple a total of more than 200 million euros, $225 million, for alleged anti-competitive cooperation in the sale of Apple and Beats products. Contractual provisions of a 2018 agreement between the companies meant only selected resellers were allowed to sell Apple and Beats products on Amazon.it, the watchdog said, adding that this was in violation of European Union rules and affected competition on prices. Both Apple and Amazon said they plan to appeal against the fines. So the way this worked is there was a deal worked out between Amazon and Apple at the end of 2018 where you were able to sell these products on Amazon if you were on this particular list. If you were not on that particular list, then you could not sell Apple's products on Amazon, even if they belong to you. We're not talking about somebody, getting stuff gray market. We're talking about, I have a MacBook that I own, and then I want to sell it on Amazon, or I'm a refurbisher or any of that. That was no longer a thing. And this affected a lot of people in our industry because there are people who have pretty much dedicated their business to finding devices that are broken, making them work again, and making them available. One of those is John Bumstead. I talked about him in this video. Apple bans third parties from selling refurbished MacBooks on Amazon. And also over here, where I did an almost 1 hour long interview with him. Interview with ex-Amazon seller, John Bumstead of RDK Link, and I will leave a link to that interview down below. It's 1 hour, and he's a great dude. What he does is he will find machines that have pretty much just been thrown out or junked, like A1181 MacBooks, A1150, stuff that's really, really old. What he will do is he will find MacBooks that are old, like A1181s and A1150s that people have just trashed. He will grab all these machines, he'll buy them all up, and then he will take the parts from 2 or 3 of them and use that to make one working device. And his feedback on these platforms was really, really good. If you Google, you'll find that his reputation is second to none. He stands behind all the devices that he sells, and by doing what he does, he allows MacBooks to be available to people that can't afford $1,000 or $2,000 or even $500 for one to work. He has a vast selection of them available. Unfortunately, he built a lot of his business around sites like Amazon. So what happened when Apple made this agreement with Amazon is they turned off the ability for refurbishers to be able to sell products on their platform just like that. Now, this wouldn't be as big an issue back in 2006, 7, and 8, but in 2018, when Amazon represents so much of the market, it means that there's a lot of people that likely will not find your stuff because they just search on Amazon. So it is an interesting question. Is it an antitrust issue when one company worth over $1 trillion can go to another company over $1 trillion that has the world's largest marketplace and say, completely disallow anybody else from selling on your platform unless we give you the okay? I was very surprised that this did not get attention at the time, and I was also very surprised that last year when you had all these antitrust hearings with people like Tim Cook testifying and Jeff Bezos testifying, that anything that we discussed in this interview over here never showed up. But it appears that in Italy, it is starting to show up. This is only showing up when it comes to Beats headphones, but remember, this does apply to everything that they have. If I refurbish MacBooks, I cannot sell that refurbished MacBook on Amazon.com. And I will stand behind the fact that I do believe that our refurbs are better quality than what you will get at Apple. I have consistently stood behind this, and I've consistently showed you why I believe that to be the case. For instance, if we talk about the 2012s that Apple started refurbishing in 2015 for a GPU problem, they would have boards that look like this, where you have little bits of solder in between the pads, and it would just look like the joints all look like crap, and they would put a little piece of rubber over it, whereas what we would do is actually rework the pins and the pads so that it would look good again. And I've gone over this countless times in these videos where, again, this is just This is how Apple was refurbishing boards during that era. I know there are people that are going to say, well, they just wanted to ensure quality and they should be able to disallow you from being able to sell refurbished devices on the world's largest marketplace, that they are doing everything they can to corner the market on so that you are protected from bad refurbishing. I just need you to keep in mind, this would be able to be sold on Amazon under this agreement, whereas devices that are refurbished properly would not. And I'm very curious what your thoughts are on this. Do you think that Apple should be able to walk over to the world's largest marketplace and say, we will give you this deal, in exchange, cut out all of these other people from being able to sell our products on your platform? Do you think this is a good thing because it means there'll be less counterfeits? Or do you think it is a bad thing because it means that a $1 to $2 trillion company is going to have more and more control over what you are allowed to buy on these platforms that are increasingly pushing out smaller businesses and smaller e-commerce businesses online? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. That's it for today. And as always, I hope you learned something. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye now.